Yo, tapping in real quick. Final thoughts on Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. And why I'm on the side I'm on, which is the side of Diego Lopes to be the one to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Let's talk about it. Individuals want to know why I'm sleeping on Brian Ortega. Individuals want to know why I have counted Brian Ortega out. Listen, I am not sleeping on that young man in any way, shape, form, or fashion, nor have I counted him out, as I have never truly counted him all the way in. You know what I'm talking about? Let's talk about Brian T. City Ortega, his resume, his record, and the run that he was on to get him to where he is, which got everybody so impressed with him, the body of work he's been able to produce, and how dangerous he has proven that he can be. Let's talk about it. In Brian's route to the UFC, he fought absolutely no one of any significance, no legitimate level of opposition, period. But that can be said just about everybody in their route to the UFC. So we won't put too much into that. Now, when he made his entrance into the UFC, you can very much miss me with the 2 wins over Tavares and Diego Brandao, as they are completely meaningless and hold absolutely no weight in any way, shape, form, or fashion, in my personal opinion. Now, he did go on to fight and beat 4 individuals inside of the UFC octagon that are 4 very respectable names to have on your resume. But with that being said, they are also 4 individuals who were very much so at the end of their primes. 4 individuals who were very much so at the end of their eras, and 4 individuals who were very much so coming to the end of their careers. So while they are 4 very respectable names to have on your resume in Clay Guida, Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar, and Chan Sung Young, the Korean Zombie, they are also 4 individuals who were very much so at the end of their primes. 4 individuals who were very much so at the end of their eras, and 4 individuals who were very much so coming to the end of their careers. You understand what I'm saying to you? So while they are 4 very respectable names to have on your resume, they just do not hold the weight that some of y'all think they do, based off of the timeline when he faced these individuals. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, some motherfuckers who don't know any better might look at Ortega's resume and think to themselves, oh my God, he was the first one to get Frankie Edgar out of there inside the distance, the first one to ever finish him. The legend had only lost via decision in his whole career. Oh my God, Brian's so dangerous. This kid's so good. Stop it. Stop it. Brian was blessed with the opportunity to have a couple legend/legacy type fights in his career, because Frankie Edgar and Cub Swanson are very much so UFC legends and Hall of Famers. You know what I'm talking about? So while having their names on your resume is, very appealing, to the eyes, based off of the times that those fights took place, they do not hold the weight that some of y'all may think they do. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? And with all of that being said, the only individual that Brian T. City Ortega has fought inside the UFC octagon that was a legitimate level of opposition while also being in their prime, and he beat him, was Renato Moicano. Period. These are just fucking facts, man. You know what I'm talking about? He faced nobody of, any significance, no legitimate level of opposition in his route to the UFC. Then he came into the UFC and he beat fucking Tavares and Diego Brandao. Individuals who everybody fucking beat. You can miss me with those wins. They hold no weight. Then fighting Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson, Clay Guida, and Chan Sung Young at the times that he fought them, which was very much past their primes, past their eras, and coming to the end of their careers, they just don't hold the weight some of y'all want to have them holding. You know what I'm talking about? They just don't. They don't. Period. If it was a few years prior, we'd be talking about something different, but that would also make Brian Ortega a part of their era, which he's not. He's a whole new era. He fought them at the end of their era, and while they're respectable names they have on a resume, they don't hold the weight. You know what I'm talking about? He got beat up bad by Max. He did everything he could do to get Volk up out of there with that motherfucking submission. A submission that nobody else has ever gotten out of when he's locked it in, especially when he's locked it in that deep. That did something mentally. That did something spiritually to that young man. You know what I'm talking about? After the fucking mental, physical, and spiritual damage he took from Max. He's just not the same, for one. For two, he was just never that guy, in my personal opinion. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because we can go over it again. No legitimate level of opposition prior to coming into the UFC. The Tavares and the Brendel wins, you can miss me with that. The Cub Swanson, the Clay Guida, the Frankie Eggert, and the Chan Sung Young, they just don't hold the weight based off of when he faced them. Renato Moicano was the only individual who was a, legitimate level of opposition that was also still in his prime that he fought and beat. Period. You understand what I'm saying to you? So, while there is nothing overly impressive about Diego Lopes's resume either, I do believe that we have seen the best there is to see from Brian T. City Ortega, man. I do believe that he has peaked and reached his ceiling inside the UFC. Where on the other side of things, I don't necessarily know where Diego Lopes will peak at and when he will reach his ceiling. You understand what I'm saying to you? I feel like he's still evolving and we still have yet to see the best from him. You understand what I'm saying to you? It's a dangerous fight. It is a dangerous fucking fight. I will not deny that. You understand what I'm saying to you? But we cannot deny the facts either, man. You know what I mean? His resume, it looks impressive based off of some of those names, but if you go to those 4 names that really boost his resume, and you look at the timelines of when he faced those 4 individuals, they were very much 4 individuals who were past their prime at the end of their eras and coming to the end of their careers, man. So it does not move the meter for me, and it does not impress me in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and those wins don't hold the weight that some of y'all might want them to hold. You know what I mean? And with that being said, yes, it was Max that beat him, and yes, it was Volk that beat him, but the only motherfucking legitimate level of opposition that he faced inside that octagon and he beat that was, in their prime time was Renato Moicano, man. You know what I mean? And while Renato Moicano is solid and well-rounded, he's nobody to be bragging about beating. You know what I mean? I mean, come on. Jay Lynn had him the fuck up out of there, but he walked off like a dummy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude is not very durable. He's not very fucking dangerous. He's just solid and well-rounded. And that is the one individual who was in their prime, who was of a legitimate level of opposition inside the UFC octagon, that Brian got the dub over, man. Max beat the brakes off of him. It's Max's era, though. It was Max's era. Volk beat the brake off of him. It was Volk's era. You know what I mean? He got the win over motherfucking Cub and Clay and Chan Sung Young, but their era was done. Their prime was over. They were on their way out. That shit don't hold weight. And yeah, he was the first one to get Frankie Eggert out of there inside the distance when everybody else was only ever able to do it via decision. But look at the timeline of when he did it, man. You know what I'm talking about? They don't hold the weight that some of y'all think they should hold, man. Hence why I just have not been overly impressed or overly invested into the Brian T. City Ortega side of things at all in any way, shape, form, or fashion, man, throughout his career. Because the facts are what the facts are. You know what I'm talking about? And as much as you might want to look at his resume and read over those 4 names and say to yourself, he was the first one to get Frankie out of there inside the distance, that's magnificent, this dude is dangerous, those wins don't hold the weight you want them to hold, man. You know what I mean? And had he got those individuals out of there the way he got them out of there, or secured those victories the way he secured those victories years earlier, it'd be a different story. But that would also be him as a part of their era, a different era, which he's not. You know what I'm talking about? So it is what it is, man. Those wins just don't hold weight for me. And when you look at his other wins, Renato Moicano being the best one, because Brandao and Tavares and any of the other individuals on his resume, they don't move me in any way, shape, form, or fashion, man. You know what I'm talking about? And while it was Max that inflicted the damage on him and Volk that put a little bit of pain on him as well, and whoever he fights moving forward isn't them individuals, the fact still remains that the damage was inflicted. And I don't necessarily know how much more he can take mentally, physically, or spiritually. You know what I'm talking about? So it is what it is. I ranted. I drug this shit out. My bad. But I'm obviously on Diego Lopes. We have not seen the best of him yet. We have seen the best of Brian. We have seen Brian peak, and we have seen Brian reach his ceiling inside the UFC. Even if it is Volk, even if it is Max, it may very well be Diego Lopes as well. We don't know that yet. You know what I'm talking about? Because nothing about his resume, nothing about his other wins, like I say, jump off the motherfucking page and move me in any way, shape, form, or fashion, man. Because the 4 names that boost his resume are 4 names that he fought when they were past their primes, past their eras, and coming to the end of their careers. So they don't hold the weight for me. They don't boost the resume for me as I see the reality in the situation. You know what I'm talking about? But it is what it is. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be dangerous. You know what I mean? And in my personal opinion, Diego Lopes is going to get him up out of there inside the distance, or he's going to win via decision. And it's going to show on Brian T. City Ortega's face once again if it goes the full 15 minutes. But he will lose the decision. The damage will be inevitable. You understand what I'm saying to you? And he may very well find himself getting submitted if he too, overly confident in his abilities there and attempts to take it there while they're dry and early. You know what I'm talking about? But it is what it is. That's that with that. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Diego Lopes is very much the pick for me.